I just really love people. I honestly do. I just do. I just want to say that. I'm saying it. I just have a lot of love.
I just love
I
people.
love people. I'm like the Care Bear with the big, like,
Heart.
rainbow heart,
Yeah.
just like shining. I really love you. Unqualified, unsolicited, and totally honest opinions on midlife. Are you ready to talk about friends?
I'm ready to talk about friends.
This is one of those topics that people will listen to because they'll be like, what? And then they'll come out of it going, wow, I didn't know I needed this. So it just
Friends?
friend, but to listen about friends over 40 because it's a whole new world.
Friends over 40 is hard.
Yeah.
Friends over 40 without kids in the mix would be, oh man, that'd be really hard.
You mean by not making a friend through kids? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, through our
Okay.
kids. Like,
Yeah.
I think that was a lot of our association when we moved too. Was friends through our kids, friends,
Right.
sports, and all that. Yeah.
Because we moved, we were over 40 when
Yeah.
we moved. And we moved back from California to our homeland of Oregon.
Homeland.
I don't know. It's where we're from.
Yeah.
And I love bringing this up because this drives you crazy about me. And I find it really funny.
This subject?
Well, me saying we're from Oregon
Oh.
because we are
Oh, hang on.
door open, enter Brian. How about it?
We used to live in Los Angeles, and Barb would always, if anyone asked them, like, where are you from? She'd go, oh, I'm from Portland. And they'd be like, oh, really? What are you doing here? And she's like, oh, no, we live here. And then they would always get completely confused because people want to know when they say where you're from and it's a casual acquaintance, that means where are you living at this moment in time?
And I take it deeper.
It's
and
not like you're in Europe and they're like, where are you from? Then you say like United States, you know, you would be, if we were in Europe, you'd be like, oh, we're from Portland, Oregon, but we live in Los Angeles. And everyone's like, I don't care. Too much information.
I just could never be like, I am from LA because I was like, I'm residing here, but I'm not from. Like my heart is not from there. I was not like grown and flown there.
This argument could go on forever.
Yeah.
I feel like
I opened the door.
Where you're from formative years and then where you're from like the bulk of your like life. Like if you move around a lot, if you've spent, 20 years somewhere, you're from that place.
So now that we got that crap over with, but
where are you from, Barb?
I'm from Portland.
Oh,
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Thanks for asking.
Your whole life?
Yeah. Most of it had a little detour for 22 years, but yes. But anyway, we came back to where we were born and raised.
Yeah.
Homeland.
Made the pilgrimage.
AKA homeland. After being gone for 22 years, and our kids were like 4th, 3rd, and 1st grade. It was during COVID.
Yeah.
And we're from here. We knew some people, but not a lot we knew one friend that would be at the same school as our kids. But beyond that, we didn't know anyone. And then I lucked out and we happened to move by a sorority sister of mine. And so there was a couple people, but I hadn't talked to her in years. So it was, we were and it was COVID. So we were a lot of alone time, which was fine and just easing in. But it was through our kids' activities and schools is how we met people.
Yeah.
But I feel like when your kids might be in high school and then your parents are kind of taken out of the mix, you're not transporting, you're not seeing the other parents as much. The kids are doing their sports through high school.
Yeah, that's gonna be hard.
It's a hit to your social unless you've already, if you're moving later or if you just kind of lost touch. And I think this is so good to kind of rekindle or re-energize people because friends are so important, especially you and I've talked about how it's so good for you to have bro time. It's good for me to have bro time. But I think it sounds cool.
You're like, you're nailing it. I'm waiting for like the third, just unique,
term.
And
then me to have,
babe, tonight it's bro time. Gotta go.
Whatever, your guy time.
Yeah, sure.
Whatever you want to call it. Yeah. And then me to have my gal time.
Yeah.
And that some people don't have that. And it's like life-giving to us.
Sure.
Super important. And there's studies on this. I can throw out, I'm sure Harvard did one. So people are like, ooh,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that sounds
We like to
important.
cite here. We like to cite a lot of Harvard studies because
I just
it's in our
assume they've done it
lexicon.
because they're smart and
Yeah,
it's a big topic.
yeah. I
And
mean, we're well read.
yeah. So anyway, sure, Harvard or Princeton did one.
Yeah,
So just
yeah,
assume we know what we're talking about
yeah.
because
Yeah, you barely said Harvard. You pronounced Harvard. You're like, we're doing Harvard.
I said Harvard. Harvard.
Yeah.
That is a weird. Say it 5 times. Harvard.
Harvard,
Harvard.
Harvard, Harvard,
Harvard.
Harvard,
It's a weird. It doesn't like roll off the tongue. Good
Mm,
thing our kids aren't going to go there
Glad.
because that would be really hard for us. Like our kids go to Harvard. Harvard.
Yeah, it's gonna be real tough. It's gonna be hard. Well, good thing that's not gonna be an option.
Right.
So,
Right. Right.
hey,
I mean,
moving on.
bless them.
Our kids go to community college.
No, stop
Our
that.
kids don't go to college.
Hey,
All of it's
no,
okay.
I'm just saying
I think it's fine.
we're well rounded, and Harvard's hard to say, so we're just not going to go for that.
Mm,
We're not. Stanford, way easier to say. So we're going to keep it on the West Coast.
mm,
Segue,
mm.
but friendships super important, and I did an episode on a podcast about friendships, and it got so many people listening and talking about it, and
What were they asking questions about?
they were just like, oh my gosh, this is so good. And I did too. One was about my journey with friendships because I grew up like,
After your pilgrimage back
oh
home.
my God. Just
No,
like,
just curious where in
just
the
let me
stage
know when
of
we're
your
ready to
world.
move on from homeland.
Okay, go.
Okay. Can we move on from that?
Yeah,
Sorry. I don't even think before I talk
that's
sometimes.
great. I love
It
it.
just kind of comes out.
Yeah.
But my journey, because my brother's 9 years older than me, I was like kind of like an only child, and it makes you get really like really outgoing, or you're gonna be really alone
Sure.
and sad.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was not the life I wanted. So I got really easy and like, oh, you're that type of person. I'm gonna be like beep wobble and like access that part of me, and then
Right.
this other person. So it's a blessing and a curse because it makes you really easygoing and outgoing, but then it also made me
Being a chameleon of sorts.
being a chameleon. And then when I was in my 20s, because I thought if you were in my circle or just even in my vicinity, I'm like, we're friends. Of course we're friends.
Right.
I didn't think, do I want to be your friend? I just was like, we're friends. And so in my 20s was the first time, because I'm pretty likable,
Right.
that I got voted off the island.
Right.
Like total survivor, kiboshed me, voted me off, and I was devastated. It was these 3 girls. We all worked together, and I was like, oh, of course we're gonna be friends. And we hung out, and they were fun enough, and whatever. They
Yeah.
checked some boxes, and then I remember I got voted off, and one of your friends, of course, it's a dude. Dude will just make it super simple and be like, "Did you even like them?" And I was like, "What do you mean? I like everybody." And he's like, "No, did you like? Do you think they were good friends?" And I was like, no. And he's like, well, then why did you want to be friends with them? And I was like, because everyone's my friend. And he's like, oh God. Like, and it really hit me. It was that, not a aha, it was a, ooh,
Yeah.
I got to work on this. But it was so good for me because after that, I was realizing I was not spending time with the people that filled me up. When you walked away, you felt better than when
Yeah,
you came.
I think that's a real important thing.
It is. And then it became like this feeling thing for me where you can just feel when you're with someone that you should be. And then after that, when I would meet people, I'm like, oh, you're nice, but like, you're not my, not like you're not my type, but just, we're not going to be close, or maybe eventually, but just not right now. Like,
Yeah.
and then there's your friends for a season, a reason, or a something. There's something
Ooh,
else.
gosh.
It's
I
no,
wanted, I needed a third there. That would
there
be
is a
amazing.
third. I just forgot what it was.
Season,
Season, reason, or I
Skableason.
want to say chapter, but that
Not
doesn't rhyme. It
Skableason.
doesn't go with
Yeah.
it. But and then I really started touching base with who I was, because I was like, okay, well, if you're for everybody, you're for nobody. And then I had to be like, okay, well, who am I? And then who do I want to hang out with? So it was more that. And then I really became known for my friends. Like people were like, you have the best friends. And because I think by getting that on that very humbling day of going, like realizing how
Sure.
far off I was on what a friend was, that I became a really good friend. And I was very specific with who I wanted to spend my time with. And it was those soul giving, you have fun with all this stuff. And I was touching base with people I hadn't been spending time with, even if they weren't in my immediate vicinity, but it was like my lifelong friends that I'm
Yeah.
like, I freaking love you. And you make me laugh more than any other human being? So it was really this awesome. And ever since then, I have just been very clear on, and you meet people and we're very social
Yeah.
and there's a lot of people. You can't be friends with everybody, and especially like close friends. So there's those friends that you're like, hey, I'll hang out with you, but I'm not going to go to you for a problem. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't feel super safe, or you don't feel protected, or
Yeah. Like you don't have my
yeah.
back. We can chat at a game
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
you
which is
know,
great. Those are good friends. Yeah, yeah,
totally.
yeah. I think you have all sorts of levels of friends.
Yes,
Yeah, I think that's okay, and I
totally.
think it's why, like, I like try to teach our kids, like, okay, so you know this about such and such because they did X, Y, Z. So all right, so have that, know that, and then know that they can't be dependable in this scenario or whatever, and
Yeah.
go from there. I don't think you need to like try and change people. You just know
No.
that
Yeah.
you got a friend who's great because we go skateboarding together, or
Yeah.
pickleball, or the friends that you are work friends, or there's all.
Yeah. And in one of our daughter's like groups, it's this really cool mom daughter group. And they talk about friends because it is so important
Yeah.
of like kind of like a traffic light where it's green, yellow, and red friends. And your green friends are those safe that you can go to for everything. Yellows, you gotta, they're a little inconsistent, but they're still really genuine, good people. They could maybe one day be a green or they could maybe one day
Go the
be a
other way.
red,
Yeah.
and then the red friends are, we always say, be kind to everybody, but those are the people that you're like, you're super inconsistent. I don't trust you, but I'll be kind to you and we'll
Yeah.
smile and I wish you well. And it's just so good to have those people. You don't need many of them that are those green friends. Like I know I'm your best friend. You're my best friend, but you and I both you're going to go see one of your longest childhood buddies, like
Yeah.
best friends
Tonight. Yeah.
tonight. And it makes my heart happy that you guys
We're
still
having
have,
bro time.
you're having bro time.
Yeah.
And
Just broing out.
yes. Oh my God. But you guys still, you don't
Yeah.
live in the same
Yeah.
state.
I think that's for me, some of that's because I'm not a great phone caller, or,
You're
write a
horrible
letter
on the
sort
phone.
of person.
You're really bad.
So like, I'm always like, oh, the next time I see you, whether it's a week, a day, 4 years, I'm going to pick up where we left off. But yeah, I'm not great like that. I'm not.
Yeah.
So
Because
that's hard. So I wish, if he lived right next door,
yeah.
you know,
And there's a woman that even wrote a book about it, that how important a friend is in your life. That, they say about putting your own oxygen mask on,
Yeah.
a plain analogy where you can't help anyone else unless your own oxygen mask is on, or you're passed out and everyone else is dead. Does not work. Put your on and then you can help everyone else. They're saying that having that friend, even if it's just one, that obviously you can call in that like I need you
Mhm.
and they show up for you, but also to know you well enough to be like, oh, you need to put your own oxygen mask on, like to really just be in tune with you and in touch with you. And I thought that was really cool. And so another episode, I had one of my longest best friends who she's the best analogy because she and I started out as arch enemies.
Yeah.
Enemies.
Yeah.
Enemies. Enemies.
Yeah.
We were like highly competitive. We met and we were 5 years old. We were like on the same swim team, on the same soccer team, campfire girls together, who could sell more cookies, who finished the race first.
Yeah.
Like it was super competitive and really didn't become close until middle school, high school. And we are like soul sisters, would do
Sure.
ride or die, would do anything for. We laugh so much together.
I think time and knowing somebody for so long really helps create a foundation. So
Totally.
then I guess my question is, making new friends
Yes.
doesn't have that.
I was
sort of
going to go that way too.
Oh gosh darn it, Barbara.
Let's
Great
go to-
minds.
Yes. What do you do?
Fuck.
What do you
Tell me
do?
about it. I don't know.
I don't know. Because you know what's fun is that I have my longest and you have your longest. But I feel like since we've moved, and moving from California was really hard because we have 3 families that we really loved and raised our kids with. And that was the hardest part of leaving
Sure.
was, not being around them and not having, but we are lucky and still very much in touch and connected to them. So I feel blessed in that. But you still need your close person
Yeah.
in your proximity. And I feel like I've really made some good
You have a lot of good
people.
friends.
I
Yeah.
do have a lot of good friends because I'm known for it now.
Yeah.
So really learned.
Mm.
And but I was trying to think how I made those. And granted, a lot of it was through our kids and their activities, but it was really putting myself out there and then also inviting people in. So we have a pickleball court, so that's lucky. But I even was thanked today by two members of my pickleball group that I love. And they're like, thank you for doing this. Thank you for texting every week. So we show up and do this because that's what it takes.
Yeah.
And everybody needs that. So I think
Yeah, we do
putting
that a
yourself
lot.
out there is one of the key components of creating new friendships. And I think people get a little bit like, like nervous about it. But it's like, hey, I want to come do this. And groups.
Well, I
are
think when you
really
put
easier.
yourself out there, you could like be like, "Hey, let's all hang out Saturday," and then it's crickets, and then you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh shoot,
Totally.
nobody likes me, everybody hates me." You
Right.
fall into that like, so if you don't put yourself out, you don't get rejected, and so
You
that's
could also
kind of normal
not
human nature.
totally and not do the group text so no one else knows if anyone else said
Yeah,
no.
individually.
That's really good.
Yeah.
It's like the e-bites that no one sees the responses.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, you have to commit without knowing, or I know. I see you people out there. You're
Yeah.
looking at the guest list before you respond. See you.
Whatevs.
Yeah.
You
Anyway,
gotta
I'm just
throw
kidding.
it out. You have to do it.
You have to put yourself out there. You have to make the invite and not wait for the invitation all the time. And you and I laugh because we are the invitors and
Yeah.
we rarely get invited. But then
Yeah.
we're like,
Hmm.
is it because people aren't really doing much or is it that they just,
Don't like us.
I think, well, they like us when they come to our house, whatever it is. I don't know. And then I start thinking about it, and then I get sidetracked on something else. I haven't figured that out, but it's okay. I really don't think many people are creating things or they just last minute, like,
Yeah.
oh, we're just going to go here. It's not some pre-planned,
Right.
premeditated thing.
Right.
But definitely putting yourself out there. Also joining groups. You did that box lacrosse, the 40 plus
Yeah, I
box
showed
lacrosse,
up without knowing anybody.
which is good. It
Yeah.
stretches
You
yourself.
feel like a little kid because you're walking in
Yeah.
and you're like, and it's funny too because there, everyone's really quiet. They were really quiet, and I'm pretty outspoken, so I just was like, hey to everybody, hi, hi, what's up, and then in the game, I was complimenting people, even people that would like, shoot a great shot over me, and so I think that just kind of helps, I don't know, break the ice a little bit, yeah.
And what you
But
just,
not everyone's outgoing like that, so I don't know what
Right.
the advice would be there.
but you brought something up that I think is really helpful. So if you're not compliments, and you and I have talked to our kids about that.
Yeah, I do that at work.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
our kids are in very competitive sports, and we're like, hey, guess what? If you compliment
Compliments
people,
are awesome.
compliments will get cut through anything, and everybody wants a
It's pretty
compliment.
easy too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
ooh, that was awesome.
Yeah.
I
I mean, you read how to win friends and influence people.
these compliments. in there.
Compliments. Literally, the key to life is a compliment and saying people's names.
I actually think
Yeah.
there was. I was reading it. Oh God, it was a couple years back. I got to dig it up. But it was a Harvard study about
Are
compliments.
you joking?
No.
Shut up.
Yes.
Dad!
Hook, line, and sinker.
Oh my God. You said Harvard right. Harvard. Harvard. Do you have aging parents and you're still raising your kids? Then welcome to the sandwich generation. It can be super overwhelming, but I've got you. I wrote an ebook that helps you save time, energy, and money. And you can get your copy on thesandwichgen.com/ebook, and it will help you with all the things you need.
And I just did that because that's my fail-safe going into a new environment.
Yeah.
To like compliment people or like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird because even like when I started getting into like Dungeons and Dragons and like anything like skateboard, comics, music stores, like these little niche stores all have these like little core groups
Yeah.
that are like kind of intimidating to break into if you don't know. Like
Right.
you can say one wrong thing and everyone outs you as like, of course you're a newbie. And so sometimes you just go hat in hand and throw a couple compliments and be like, hey, I love what you guys are doing. This is amazing. How do I get into this?
Yeah.
But-
and then they want good
everybody
people.
listen, people want friends just as much as they're not looking to shutter people out of their group. They want people, they want numbers.
And also when you give someone a compliment, it makes you feel better. So if you have any unease with walking into a situation where you might, a box. If you find yourself in a box lacrosse
You know what happened? The darndest thing on Tuesday afternoon.
and you don't know anyone, give a compliment.
Compliment.
But what it does, it raises something in you. Cortisol. No, not cortisol. That's the bad stuff. It raises, oh, darn it. I'm really off my game on words today.
That's okay.
It raises some good stuff. in
Words
you.
aren't that important.
No, and I didn't go to Harvard. But it raises a
Yes.
good chemical in your body.
Makes you feel good.
Cortisol, no.
Mm.
Something, I don't know. It raises something.
I wish
And
I could help you out, but my silence is evidence that I don't understand.
Yeah. Anyway, but it lowers stress hormones when you make someone else's day. Like if you give a compliment, so you're going to feel better. They're going to feel better.
Yeah.
It's like,
it changes the energy
Yeah.
in the room or in the moment for sure.
totally,
Yeah.
totally. And also, I heard this from Mel Robbins, and I love this because a lot of people, there's plenty of experiences in life where you are going to be nervous, and instead of the same feeling of nerves is like the same as excitement. And so if you just say, I'm excited, instead of I'm nervous, it like you can, a lot of this is all mental. And so you can really feel more excited. So I'm so excited to go to box lacrosse where I know no one. I'm so excited to meet
Right.
new people, but walking into anything.
Oh, you want to know a funny story?
Oh
about
yes,
that
I
one?
want to know a
This
funny
is great.
story.
It's great because I coach a lot of things, and coaches hate when kids show up without the right gear. They're missing
Oh.
their cleats, or they left it X, Y, Z,
Yeah.
right? And us coaches are always like, blah! So I triple checked my gear like 14 times. I was getting ready to go to my first thing, put it on this little bench by the car, and I searched through it all carefully. And I literally touched everything that I needed to have with me like 4 times, and zipped up the bag, and then went in to get my water bottle, came out, got in the car, drove to the field, and got out, popped my trunk, and I was like, oh shit. And I had to like call you up, and you're all stressed out, and I felt like such a little kid. I'm like, meet me halfway and I'll get it.
I need my gear. I was like, this is cute.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyways, and then I came in and I was all like, I feel so bad, I'm coming in late, but everyone was really cool, and you just like, yeah, just go with it.
Totally.
It's funny how like, or maybe, I don't know.
Well, we're giant little children.
Yeah.
We're
Dude,
still,
and I knew that one. I just blew it.
oh my God. Oh, turns out you're not perfect, right? Yeah.
Some episodes, yeah.
But I love that you go do things. I mean, I even joined the PTA. It's not me bragging, but it really was.
Barbara was the PTA president.
Yes. I just had a tickle. Sorry.
Mm.
But it was really cool because I love being in situations where you're not around people that you normally be around.
Right.
And there were some really cool, amazing women on this PTA. And I really got to know them. And they're just really cool, genuine, intelligent, awesome people. And so it's neat to go into something that might, do your hobby things, but also do the other things where it's like twofold. You're being involved, and then you're also getting to
Sure.
have the conversations, ask some questions, get engaged, be interested, and
Right.
be interesting.
Well, I think everybody wants whatever they're doing to be interesting to somebody else. So
Yeah.
just by the fact that you show up and are engaged,
Yeah.
you're already heading towards being a friend, right? That's kind of what you're saying. It's like,
Being
hey,
a friend?
being a friend.
Oh, being.
Because you're saying like, hey, if you don't have any friends, start getting out there in these groups or volunteer or do this. And just by the sheer fact of showing up and being engaged, everyone's like, oh, well, they like picking daisies like me, and we're gonna be great friends, la-ti-da. Right? I mean, that's kind of
Right.
that's the takeaway here.
Yes. There's so many takeaways.
Okay.
But just getting out there, getting involved, putting yourself in situations that you might not, just try it on. It's not a huge commitment. I mean, it was 2 years, but volunteers are awesome. Thank
Yeah.
you, volunteers.
Who would have thunk it?
Yes. Who would have thunk that volunteers are awesome?
Yeah. Who would have?
I kind of did.
That was sarcasm.
But I just really love people. I honestly do. I just do. I just want to say that. I'm saying it. A lot of love.
I
And
just love
I
people.
love people. I'm like the Care Bear with the big, like,
Heart.
rainbow heart,
Yeah.
just like shining. 'Cause I'm like, I really love you. And I laugh because one of our friends, I don't know if I brought this up before, but one of our friends is hilarious. She's awesome. And I love her because she's straightforward and she's no BS. And she is like, a tells you like it is, which is really refreshing because a lot of people are, you're like,
Beating
oh,
around the
I'm
bush.
trying to read you. And I don't know what's real. She is so real. And so I love her. And we are completely opposite energies. And we were laughing about it because she'll tell me all this stuff. And she's like, oh, when I meet someone, they started as zero.
Yeah.
And then where they go from there. And I'm like, I never got that vibe from you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, probably because you started 100% when you meet me. And where you go from there is up to you. Is I overpowered your zero. We met in the middle, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think it's really funny because people are coming from different places. They have their different, like, what they've brought before from how they meet people and everything. And but I just find people so fun and fascinating that I just love getting to know them and being like, okay, are
Right.
we compatible? Are we? Because it's kind of like dating. It is like at first friends. Maybe guys don't feel like this as much, but
No, that's
girls
fair.
do.
You try it on and you're like, oh, let's
Because
just,
you like
yeah,
ask
yeah,
them on a
let's
date.
work.
You're like, yeah,
Yeah.
do you want to go to do you want to do this?
Yeah.
Da, da, da,
Yeah.
da.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of like feeling each other
Sure.
out. So it's kind
Sure.
of like
Fun.
friending. What would be cool? Merge that.
Friending.
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 Something.
Friender.
Yeah. Something cool. Insert there.
Yeah.
But
Someone else should think of that.
someone else, and then let us know.
Yeah.
And we'll be like voiceover, like because you've been watching Squid Games and
Oh,
they're
yeah.
talking
Yeah.
a
Just
different
dub it
language.
in. Dub it.
Dub it in.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it just acknowledge that it takes courage, takes balls to get out there and meet new people.
Right.
And just to give yourself grace and really just kind of just but do it. That's
So is that the takeaway? So if you don't have
Do it.
friends and you're trying to make friends over 40, is you got to get out and get in the groups? Is that the deal?
I think you get out and you engage and you ask questions and you be interested and make sure you're interesting and you
I
start
feel like that could be
spread out
really
the
hard for some people.
invitations. Okay, so what for the hard people?
God, I don't have the answers. I'm trying to think. I don't know.
Really?
I'm trying to get.
Well, I just
like-
think and you just
I guess if you start with low hanging fruit, like what's your hobby, and then try and go find somebody
Yeah.
that's in that world,
And
that
touch
does
base-
help.
touch
Yeah.
base with like the long time friends too.
I think like maybe if you go to a sport game and if you're sitting in the stands, well, like a kids game or something. Kids,
Yeah.
that thing is that's the best, easiest vehicle.
well,
but
most people
bringing a
will
couple
have
extra
kids.
snacks to share can help starting a conversation. Like if you don't know how to.
You want to bring snacks to share?
No, I'm saying like I'm always on the field, but like say you're sitting in the audience, right? And you don't know any other moms or any dads, whatever. You're a dad, maybe I don't know. You're dogging me out on that. I'm like,
Well,
if
that's
you
really
have like a
cute.
couple snacks, and you're like, hey, do you need this? Then that's like a way to start talking. I'm trying to
That's
help
really
somebody.
cute. No, I like that idea. I was
Jeez
like, that's your
Louise.
idea.
I'm just off the cuff. I'm trying to
wasn't
figure things
judged.
out for
I
people.
wasn't judging. It was really cute. I
Sounded-
love it. You really well, it did sound judgy, but I'm trying to dig my way out because it
Yeah.
is really cute.
Yeah,
Bring
but
some
I'm just
snacks.
trying to think of some other, you know what I mean? Like, do you want conversation starters? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
just a way to be like, to talk to somebody. Because I do sometimes when I look up in the stands and I'm always like, oh, you see these like,
Yeah, people
just
need-
kind of do that versus like when I go to like high school games, we're all like just a bunch of dads and we're all together.
yeah.
And I'm like, gosh, I don't know if I want to go and just sit by myself. And granted, there's been times when our kids have been in kind of like one-off club things, and sometimes I'm like, I'm just gonna go and just chill, and I don't feel like
Right.
making a friend, which is
Right.
totally fine.
Totally fine too. You don't always,
Yeah. It's just when So if you're trying,
if you're trying, put yourself
Yeah.
out there and just start the conversation. Like, oh, which one's yours? Like, what number's your kid? I've said that.
right?
And then you're just like, oh, cool, I've heard about him, or just lie if you need to, just
Mhm.
like again the compliment. Oh, he looks really good.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Right.
But or bring a snack
Something to share.
or talk about Harvard.
Yeah. Harvard.
But it's cute because a lot of my friends have said that their husbands are really working on developing friendships. And I'm like, good for them because it is so needed.
Yeah.
And I love that you do the pickleball group. I love that you're out there doing other things because us as spouses can't be each other's everything. And it just is so good to have other sources
Outlets,
to
sure.
outlets
Yeah,
and
I mean, if you
everything.
don't have bro time,
Oh,
that's a no-go time.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's cute because I have to bring up one other thing is
Mm.
my mom. So we moved
For
her.
respite classes?
No,
Uh,
well, yeah, but
that's good.
when we moved her into the retirement home, I was so nervous because I was like,
Oh,
oh my God,
I
I
know.
felt so role reversal. I felt
Yeah,
like we were
yeah.
moving a kid into
Yeah.
college.
Oh, 100%.
She didn't know
Yeah. Yeah, I
anyone.
felt bad for her.
And I was so nervous because I'm like, oh my God, she's gonna go down to the eating area, whatever it's called. I cannot think of words that
Commissary or
yeah, whatever.
dining hall.
Dining area.
So,
Not mess hall.
but that's
She's not in the
is-
army.
yeah.
Like,
I was
okay.
giving you adjectives there.
It was a
Girl.
nice retirement home.
Yeah.
And I like
Meal
got her all
wagon.
set and I was like, okay, mom. And then in the morning you're gonna go down for breakfast. And then I called her right after breakfast and I was like, how was it? Who'd you sit with? And she was like, oh, these really nice people. And then you realize when you're older, no one cares.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
like it wasn't this exclusive table. It was that she's one person and they had one opening. They're like, hey, you want to sit here? And she's like, cool. I mean, she
Let's
didn't
hear
say
another
cool,
story.
but it's just cute.
She might have said bitchin'.
No.
Tubular.
No.
Rad.
No.
Sweet.
No.
Gangster.
No.
Hmm.
Is this could be like 10 minutes long.
No, but I do feel for her, and I think that that's awesome, and I think we put up those barriers, and so
And then when you're
whether you
older,
choose to or not, it's
no
your
one gives a
choice.
shit.
Yeah,
And everyone's welcome. So if you don't have them in your 40s,
maybe 50s.
60s for sure.
Hey, here's looking at you, kid. 20 years from now, you might have a friend.
Get out there, kids. Get out there and make some friends. If you loved hanging out with us, hit that follow button and share this episode with someone who could use a little midlife magic. Now go rock the rest of your day.